What's up, you guys? This is Mink with MF Homeschool, and today we're going to be talking about, can putting your kid on homeschool negatively affect their social skills? But before we get into that, of course, I'm going to ask you guys, can you please subscribe and hit the bell and do all that cool stuff with the video so you can get notifications anytime I post something? So, okay. A lot of times, I'll tell you a conversation that I've had, and I'm sure a lot of you guys either have had this, like if you're, already in the homeschooling, or if you're about to start it and you mention it to somebody. I'm sure you've had this conversation where someone wants to respond back with, oh, well, that's going to mess with, their social skills. I remember I was telling my brother that, hey, you know what, we're actually going to put Prince in homeschool. And as I was talking, he was like, yeah, he said, I don't personally think that's a good idea. He was like, but, he was like, do what you do. And so to me, those are always like the cheap shots. I don't think this, but, do your thing, right? So I was just like, okay, and why do you feel that that's not a good idea? And he said, well, I would never do that with my kids because it'll mess with their social skills. And so I was just like, what research do you have that shows that, right? So for me, when a person starts pulling stuff out of they bong hole like that, I challenge them to prove it to me. And I'm not saying that there's no studies on it, but I do know that you didn't read the study on it. So how can you say that it affects their social abilities, right? And he was just like, well, I'm just saying, I know if you're not around other people to socialize, how do you develop those skills? And I told him, I said, yeah, that's a very valid point. I said, and I would totally agree if I was going to tie my son's ankle to a brick wall in the basement with bars on it and feed him bread and water through a tube where he can't see nobody. But since he can still go out and see other human beings, I don't feel that he's not around other people to not work on his social skills. You know what I mean? So I encourage you guys, if you're going to do it, don't allow other people to put monsters under your bed, right? Don't let other people take what they haven't even researched, but yet they still have a fear of it. Don't let those type of people encourage you to be afraid with them. There's plenty of people who went to school, was able to develop social skills, and they're still losers in life. So that's not the key. So I'm just saying, I encourage you to still go with what it is you want to do. And I've had some people say, oh, you don't want them to grow up being an introvert and not liking people, and I'm like, well, everybody wants to be an introvert nowadays. Like, if you realize that, you look on social media, everybody's like, oh, I'm such an introvert. I went to a public place and there were people there, and they make introvert seem like a word of a person who doesn't really like being around people. And once again, that's someone who doesn't understand the definition of something and they're using it lightly. Being an introvert doesn't mean that you don't like people. Being an introvert means that you're shy. If you look it up, it says, I think, shy and reticent. And reticent obviously meaning that you just don't speak your mind. So you're kind of reluctant to say how you feel and what you think. But in nowhere in a definition of being an introvert does it say you don't like people. You don't like being around people. And there's plenty of people who were in school and they were shy. You always got that one shy person in the class. They be like, oh, Emma, she's shy. You know Tyler, he's very shy. He doesn't really speak his mind too much. There's a lot of people who are like that. So that has nothing to do with physically going to school and learning from home, So I don't feel personally that it ruins a child's social ability. A lot of people have gotten in trouble in school because they had the opportunity to be social with other people, and the people they were social with gave them a bad influence and got that kid into some BS, So everything can go both ways. So I'm not saying 100% that if your child is at home, they're going to be like the just talkative guy. Like, no, I'm not saying that. But I'm definitely not saying, oh, they're going to be just to themselves and not want to talk to nobody. So I think that a lot of that will have to do with you as a parent, first of all, how you socialize and the type of people and environment that you put your child in. So a lot of people will put their children in gymnastics, sports, things like that, Boy Scouts, so they can get around, other kids. Where we live in like a pretty small community as it is, like the town itself. And then within that town, we stay in that little HOA community. So we're like really in a small area. So we have the pool and there's always events going on. So our son, he gets to see other kids and gets to talk to other kids. And then also it'll come down to you looking at your local resources that you have, like museums, libraries, and things like that, and actually physically taking your child to that so they can get around other people who aren't grown adults, and then also for the adults, it gets you around other people who aren't kids, so you can talk to somebody finally about something besides Roblox and Fortnite. So it's like now you get to talk to the other parents. So I encourage you just to get out and do those type of things. Go to trampoline parks, like get out and do things, and your child will be able to be around other children, and they're not going to be afraid to talk. We took Prince snorkeling the other day, and he went snorkeling with like sharks and stingrays and whatnot. And the instructor, he was really cool just to talk to the dude. It wasn't like, oh, I don't want to talk and I can't say anything. He and this dude was just having conversations. We go to the Chinese buffet up the way, and he and the sushi chef, I hate those words together. He and the sushi chef, that's really hard to say. Say that 5 times. But they just sit there, they just be rapping, talking. Like my son's sitting there just eating sushi, talking to the chef, just kicking it. You know what I mean? So I personally don't feel that it does anything negative, but like I said, it also has to do with the parent being in there and teaching them to say things and teach them to speak back and things of that sort. So that's just my little 2 cents on it. So if you're afraid that your child is now going to grow up and someone say hi and they're like, hey, and they don't want to really talk just because they on homeschool, I'm going to tell you it's a deeper thing that needs to be arranged than being in homeschool. There's something else there that you might want to be focusing on. Okay. So anyway, that's it, man. So like I say, do your thing, put your kid in homeschool, have some fun, spend some time, build that relationship. So anyway, this is Mink with MF Homeschool. I appreciate you guys hanging with me today. And shoot, I got more videos coming. So I'm going to get out of here. Y'all be good. Peace.